Hi, my name is William Schaeffer, and our book review today is My Life by Isadora Duncan. I first read this book 40 years ago. I was 18 and it was after my sophomore year in college, and I stayed at school during the summer and worked at Garcia's Pizza. This was before I worked on the Play-Doh project, and that summer I built a dulcimer from a dulcimer kit. It was the first time I lived on my own when I wasn't going to school and totally obsessed with my school assignments. I have forgotten what an impression this book made on me at the time, and I consider it to be fairly instrumental now upon rereading it to my entire philosophy of life. I'm a little bit astounded. This actually is the same book I've carried with me for 40 years, and it has always stuck with me. Isadora Duncan was born in 1877 to her mother, Isadora Duncan, and she died in a tragic accident in 1927. And in between, it could be argued that she single-handedly invented modern dance. What a great and rare spirit, a keen intellect, and a true artist of the heart. There's a few things I like about this book. First of all, she's a very good writer, an engaging writer. She talks about a lot of personalities in the art, the music, the theater, and the world of literature. This alone is interesting, because rarely do we have first-hand reports of those people that we read today. Isadora Duncan's family was very poor. She was raised by her mother with her 3 siblings, and they were pretty much homeless vagabonds that went from hotel room to hotel room as she grew up. At a very early age, she learned the art of panhandling on the street and making do. Her mother apparently was an accomplished pianist and an artist, and of tremendous spirit in her own right, because in the late 1800s, her mother single-handedly raised a family of 4 with no help from anyone else. Isadora Duncan's earliest memory is being thrown out of a burning building at the age of 3, being rescued from a fire. And the early part of the story is an amazing detail of hardship and deprivation, frequently at the edge of starvation and utter ruin. And this is where she got her spirit. And somewhere along the way, perhaps because her mother was a musician, she got the idea to dance. Now at that time, there were only popular folk dances, and ballet was the artistic dance. But Isadora Duncan invented her own style of dancing, her own manner of dancing, which she pursued despite the disfavor of the world. She had a rare confidence about her. And this was inspirational for me for pursuing music writing early in my life. Also, a thing I like about this book and about Isadora Duncan is she's very concerned with truth and honesty. And her whole dance was devoted to developing an honest and true gesture. And I like that. Honesty and truth is very important to me. And in many ways, the honesty and truth of the world has been lost and obscured. 2 things I really like about Isadora Duncan is her indefatigable spirit and her pursuit of truth and honesty. And these permeate the book. And even though it was written in 1927, almost 90 years ago, it still rings with a freshness and truth today that is rare. Now, from humble beginnings as a street urchin and a beggar, she and her family rose to prominence as the toast of Europe. And she developed a theory of dance. She was also very intelligent and self-taught. And the book is steeped in the classics of literature of Greece and the contemporary literature of the late 1800s. She likes Nietzsche and she likes the Greek poets and quotes them frequently. Another thing I like about the book is she's a good writer, and she has a good memory for details and a good descriptive prose to make the people that she interacts with come alive. And strangers we've never heard of who were prominent in her day come to life, and famous artists and writers that we know of also come to life and are more fully fleshed out in her writing. But the thing that shines through the entire book is her spirit, her lofty, undefeatable, indefatigable spirit, her noble Olympian pride. And that alone is inspirational for me and for anyone. I heartily recommend that anyone who's interested in the arts or thought or philosophy or poetry should read this book. I think that anyone could benefit from it. I think that all young adolescent girls should read this book and get familiar with the spirit of intelligent, thoughtful womanhood. She's not perfect, and she talks about her mistakes, but shining through it all, as I mentioned before, is a sense of honesty and truth. And she's honest with herself and with her friends and her readers, and that alone is rare. Now, one other thing I thought was interesting is towards the end of the book she remarks that all women are unhappy. All middle-aged married women are unhappy. And this is one of the reasons that she was against being married. And this also influenced me, although I do not really remember it, because about this time I developed the idea that if you have a good relationship, you don't need to be married. Your relationship will continue. It will be based on honesty and truth, and you don't need the government getting involved if you have honest intentions. Therefore, if you have an interest in the arts, if you have an interest in dance, and if you are a woman trying to make your way in the world with honesty and truth, then I heartily recommend the book My Life by Isadora Duncan, a great and shining spirit in the history of mankind and of the arts. Thank you, and leave your comments below.